What if just one outbreak of avian influenza, a single viral intrusion into one facility, could ground an entire fleet of American-raised ducks overnight? No shipments, no processing, no foie gras, and no signature roast duck on menus from Manhattan to Macau. That's the razor's edge on which Maple Leaf Farms, America's largest duck producer, balances every single day. With over $200 million in annual revenue at stake, this family-owned giant supplies nearly 20% of the U.S. duck meat market, serving fine dining restaurants, Asian retailers, and food service giants coast to coast. But the threat of avian influenza is real, constant, and intensifying. When the virus strikes, it doesn't just claim birds. It shuts down entire barns, halts exports, forces depopulation, and ripples through the national protein chain in hours. On today's AGRI 360X, airing daily at 7 a.m. and 7 p.m., we dive beak first into the high-stakes, high-biosecurity world of duck meat production. From cutting-edge vaccine trials to controlled air systems and genetic resistance breeding, discover how Maple Leaf Farms is navigating one of the most vulnerable protein sectors in American agriculture. Because in this business, it only takes one outbreak to sink the entire flock. From family farm to duck empire. The rise of Maple Leaf Farms. What began in 1956 as a modest family-run operation in Indiana has since grown into an undisputed giant of American duck production. For nearly 7 decades, Maple Leaf Farms has been synonymous with premium quality duck meat, blending old-world husbandry with cutting-edge food innovation. Today, the company processes over 17 million ducks annually, supplying everything from roast duck legs for fine dining restaurants, to frozen cuts for major retailers, to ready-to-cook duck breast and confit for home chefs through direct-to-consumer platforms. This scale powers a $200 million a year business that spans not only the US market, but also exports to Asia, Europe, and the Middle East, where American duck is prized for its consistency, safety standards, and flavor profile. Maple Leaf Farms doesn't just sell poultry, it sells precision. From proprietary genetics and in-house feed mills to biosecure grow-out farms and fully integrated processing, every step of the supply chain is controlled, traceable, and vertically aligned. But with such size comes vulnerability. One health scare, supply chain disruption, or policy shift could ripple across the entire system, turning a proud legacy into a fragile empire overnight. Centralized standards, decentralized pressure, inside Maple Leaf's farming network. With operations spanning 30 company-owned farms and over 600 contract growers across Indiana, Ohio, and Illinois, Maple Leaf Farms runs one of the most sophisticated and far-reaching duck production networks in North America. At the heart of this system lies a delicate balancing act. On one side, Maple Leaf maintains tight vertical integration, ensuring control over genetics, feed, welfare protocols, and product quality. On the other, the company relies on a vast decentralized web of independent growers to raise millions of ducks each year, spread across rural counties, each with their own constraints, weather patterns, and labor resources. But as the scale grows, so does the tension. Each grower must meet strict biosecurity protocols, adhere to precise feed conversion ratios, and hit yield benchmarks that leave little room for error. A single slip, a biosecurity breach, an underperforming flock, or a weather delay can cost both the grower and Maple Leaf thousands in lost production and penalties. Smallholders often face an uphill battle. Margins are thin, standards are non-negotiable, and oversight is constant. For many, the promise of long-term contracts and stable income must be weighed against the pressure cooker of high-stakes industrial agriculture, where excellence is expected and failure is rarely forgiven. This is the modern poultry paradox. How do you scale nationally without crushing locally? The viral threat within, biosecurity or bankruptcy. Few threats strike fear into poultry producers like highly pathogenic avian influenza, HPAI, a fast-spreading airborne virus capable of wiping out entire flocks in mere days. Once it enters a barn, there's often no time to react. Mortality rates soar. Government-mandated culling follows, and entire farms may be quarantined, sometimes for months. To keep the virus out, Producers like Maple Leaf Farms enforce rigorous biosecurity measures across all operations. Footbaths and disinfectant spray lines at every barn entrance. Mandatory downtime between flocks to allow pathogens to clear. Controlled visitor access, with health declarations, clothing changes, and vehicle wash protocols. But these systems come at a cost, literally. Estimates show that biosecurity compliance can increase operational costs by up to 15%, affecting everything from staffing to scheduling to infrastructure upgrades. Still, cutting corners isn't an option. The alternative is far worse. Entire barns depopulated, export contracts lost, brand reputation damaged, and financial losses that can total millions per outbreak. In an industry where margins are already tight, this creates a daily dilemma. Spend more to prevent, or risk losing everything. It's not just about ducks anymore. It's about trust, traceability, and survival in a world of viral volatility. Controlled comfort or ethical freedom. The welfare debate in duck farming. To maximize growth rates, feed conversion, and flock consistency, commercial ducks in the US, including those raised by Maple Leaf Farms, are typically reared in climate-controlled barns. Inside these facilities, temperature, humidity, ventilation, and lighting are precisely managed. Feed and water are automatically dispensed. Disease exposure is minimized. Growth is predictable. This controlled system ensures uniform weight gain, reduces mortality, and delivers the reliable supply demanded by large buyers, from restaurant chains to global exporters. But outside the barns, the debate is heating up. Animal welfare advocates argue that such systems, while efficient, compromise the natural behaviors of ducks, animals that instinctively wade, preen, and forage. They champion free-run barns with open access to movement and pasture-based systems, where ducks roam outdoors, bathe in natural water sources, and live in more species-appropriate environments. While these alternative models offer ethical appeal and can command price premiums in niche markets, they also come with steep trade-offs. They demand significantly more land per bird. They require increased labor input and vigilant predator control. They are more vulnerable to weather swings, biosecurity threats, and inconsistent growth. For producers, the question becomes strategic. Do you scale up with precision, or scale down for perception? As consumer expectations evolve, the future of duck farming may hinge not just on how fast birds grow, but on how freely they live. Ducks require a high-protein diet, soy and corn, at 20% feed conversion. Surging grain prices in 2022 spiked feed expenses 25%, squeezing margins. Meanwhile, soybean cultivation drives deforestation abroad, prompting calls for sustainable sourcing. Ducks consume up to 4 L of water per bird daily, generating nutrient-rich effluent. Without proper treatment, runoff can harm local waterways, forcing farms to invest in runoff ponds and wetland buffers. Maple Leaf's flagship plant handles 200,000 ducks weekly. Outbreaks or staffing shortages can shut lines within hours, causing backlogs and stressing birds awaiting processing, threatening both welfare and meat quality. Deployable USDA-inspected mobile units brought to large farms reduce transport stress, enable immediate processing, and maintain stringent sanitation, cutting pre-slaughter weight loss by 20%. Duck carcasses must be eviscerated quickly to avoid bacterial growth. Automated evisceration robots boost speed to 1 on 200 birds/hour, yet require skilled oversight to catch deviations. Robotic CIP, clean-in-place, systems sanitize lines between shifts, while machine vision cameras detect feather or off-color defects, ensuring consistent food safety compliance. Duck meat must chill to 0 to 2 degrees C within 4 hours. Rural growers often lack reliable refrigeration, leading to up to 15% spoilage before products reach the plant.